There's a lot of disturbance.
Many organized hackathons. All the participants use a microphone.
ভাই কি ভাই কিছু জোরে কথা বলছিল
Hi all.
এত নয়েজ হলে কি করে হবে
BB College Asansol. I welcome you all in the opening day of webinar series EDAN 2020. At the outset, let me thank Dr. Amitabh Basu sir, principal of my college, and the IQAC, and all the staffs and colleagues of my college for being very supportive and for their constant encouragement of my little effort to organize this EDAN 2020. I also thank those who collaborated with us to make this webinar series a success. They are we have NDLI as the National Society of India, our national knowledge partner. Have Information and Communication Society of India, our knowledge partner, and Ranganathan Society for Social Welfare and Library Development, as a society partner. Our media partner is this portal. In this time, as we all know, of this COVID-19 pandemic outbreak, also come across and witness a barrage of fake news and misinformation. Phenomena which is termed in the literature as infodemic. This time is also marked by the great digital division. In one hand, there are people like us who are privileged and in this webinar and take part in it. Uh, but in the other hand, there are in some estimate only 12% of the student college students can actively use means of education in the digital platform. Not to forget the fact we have the largest highest number highest number of social media using population in the country. Even said, having said this, they may not be uh, information literate population. They may be very much active in the social media, but they are not information literate population. The information literacy is termed by UNESCO as a basic human right, largely missing in our country. Uh, in this context of mind, library and library studies as a great significance. This is the time I think we should turn and return to the library, which is not only the authentic source, but trusted source of information. And also, we should turn to the librarian. The pastoral librarian is not artificial. Are being admitted or mechanical time is manner. The time is coming when the very act of information can become scholarly activity. Librarian also are possibly of time. Therefore, the have been added of their mind. Thank you. We should turn to the librarian for their narrative tales. Our panel is also will also tell you some stories about the prison library setup. Um, Therefore, in this context, may I also appeal to the listeners that as a like as professional students and researchers may, may go ahead to bridge those information gaps that we have in the country, and also may well to may do well to bring not only information but relation. Uh, Thank you so much. I from here I will make our speaker now a host, and for that I request all of you. Uh, I have only asked you to mute off your videos and microphone for who can give instruction to the speaker. But please do not mute off your please do not mute off your thinking. You can always ask questions to our speaker after he ends. So the process we are beginning is only a point in this great series. We are coming to so let me introduce you to Dr. Vignesh Sharma, Strategic and Outreach Officer, National Digital Library of India. Chandramohan Paul.
Uh, Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Rajesh, for inviting us to be here. There are some a few requests that I have. If possible, I request all of you to do this. First is, if possible, kindly mute your mic, because if everybody turns on the mic, there will be a lot of disturbance that's going to be there. And second request is, kindly turn off the video, because there is a bandwidth constraint that is there. So if we turn off the video, then we will be able to listen to this voice along with the presentation better. So that's my second request. Also, don't share your screen. So these three requests I have, so that we can have a better video conferencing facility. So with this, I would like to start the presentation. So is my presentation visible? If yes, just send me a text message. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Shambhunath, for the quick feedback. Now I will start the presentation. So as Roger introduced, I think there was a lot of disturbance in his mic. So let me introduce myself. My name is Dr. Vignesh. I'm part of the National Digital Library of India team, and I help them in taking this NDLI to various educational institutions and create awareness about NDLI and its resources. So that's my primary task, and we do this by multiple activities, and I will talk about them in a little while. So as you all of you know, uh, this objective of this webinar is to understand why NDLI, and who is this for, what kind of content we have, and how to access NDLI, and what's the difference between Google and NDLI, and how to operate NDLI Club. So these are the 6 things that we are going to look at in this webinar. And most of you know about this great gentleman, Professor S.R. Ranganathan, who is the father of library and information science. And so his 5 laws of library science. So just for our quick recollection. So now let's look at uh, what's the perspective of NDLI and why it's came into existence. So kindly have a look at this India map, which is showing the literacy rate of India as per 2011 census, except very few states, say for example Kerala, Goa, Tripura, and Mizoram, uh, where the literacy level is above 90%. In rest of the states, it's below 85 percentage. On most of the states, it's below even 75 percentage. So as you can see it in the map, and this is on the one hand. On the other hand, we have another statistics which says every month 10 lakh people, that's 1 million people, are turning into 18 years of age. That means they are getting into the higher educational stream. So this requires, if we have to address this educational divide, India needs to set up 6 universities and 270 colleges every month. Okay, so you can imagine the kind of investment that might have to go into creating these infrastructure. And so creating the infrastructure is easy, but sustaining these infrastructure, educational infrastructure, is the next bigger challenge. So the government have looked at, apart from they created a lot of physical infrastructure, they also looked at a lot of digital solutions which can actually supplement and complement the existing learning ecosystem. So they looked at uh, NPTEL, Swayam, Swayam Prabha, Gyan, NDLI as a supplementary and complementary learning resource materials. With this, uh, so the NDLI was conceived as uh, a pilot project in 2014-15, and then was rolled out in the year 2016, right? And so now let's look at why NDLI was conceived. So most of you are professionals, you know the uh, difficulty um, of the constraints that are existing in the managing the physical libraries. Say for example, I remember I did my MPhil PhD from JNU. So in that institution, the library is 24/7 open, and we have one of the best collections of resources in that library. Even in that library, I faced three major challenges. And the first major challenge I faced was, uh, so say for example, one of our faculties used to prescribe some good number of books which are primarily authored by international authors or published by international publishers. So those books might be available only in the central library. So we go to the central library, and in most of the cases, the when the particular faculty prescribes the book, and that book, when we go to the OPAC, without our surprise, it might be definitely issued to another faculty member. So when it goes to a faculty member, they renew it for say at least 3 or 4 times apart from their regular time. So which means it's going to be there with them for at least next 2 months. So that's one thing that I personally experienced. So what I finally had to do is I go back to that faculty who got issued that book, and take a photocopy from that book, and then give it back to him. So that's what I and my fellow researchers used to do. And that's one of the challenges. And the second challenge which I faced was, we go to the library, we search the OPAC. Yes, it shows the book is available in the so and so section and so and so rack. But when we go and search in the so and so section and so and so rack, except that one book, rest of the book might be there. So some brilliant student in the campus knows how to hide books, or how to hide resources in the library so that others cannot access. So that's the second challenge that I faced. And the third challenge I faced was, uh, it may be there in the OPAC, it may be there in the so and so classification rack. When I go and open that uh, rack, when I go and open the resource, the book, that one specific chapter which I was looking for might be torn off, or it could have been underlined with a pencil or a pen. So these three challenges or constraints I faced in the physical libraries. And apart from this, there are other challenges like, even in that library, there used to be like bundles of books which may be awaiting in the accession room without even being opened, because they don't have as much space to stack the resources. So that's the next challenge in the physical library. And so in the last couple of years, I've been visiting a lot of libraries. So one of the major challenges that I have been hearing from these library staff are two major things. One is the budget for libraries have drastically come down. Say, for example, 5 years or 6 years back, the library budget was like say 20 lakh rupees, and today that same library's budget was 2 lakh rupees, right? So it has come down drastically, and also the manpower has been drastically reduced. So this is these calls for a definitive solution. So the government of India looked at various options, and they thought digital library is one of the ways and means to address this issue, so that same resources can be given to the entire country. Everybody can have an equal access to knowledge and resources, and actually democratize the education. So that with that objectives, NDLI was conceived and implemented as a program. So this program was launched initially as a pilot in 2016, and which was dedicated to the nation on 19 June 2018 by the then MHRD minister. So what do we have at NDLI? We at NDLI primarily ingest metadata. So metadata is the heart of NDLI. We don't store any full text resources, right? So you know what is metadata, and the metadata is nothing but data about data. In crude way, we could say like the basic information about a resource. So that's called metadata. So we only store metadata, and we don't store full text. So now let's see how the full text comes from. Say, for example, say Jadavpur University. So if Jadavpur University comes to us and tells us they have closer to 1,000 non-copyrighted open source resources, which they are willing to share it with every Indian citizen. So then what we do is we help them in web content harvesting by creating an IDR. So IDR stands for Institutional Digital Repository. So we use DSpace. So we help them in creating the IDR, and then this we also help them in creating the metadata as per the metadata schema defined by NDLI. So once they create that metadata, we actually pull the metadata from their IDR and store it in NDLI. So if, for example, if a researcher from say JNU wants to access a resource from Jadavpur University. So what he says is like he comes to the NDLI, he searches for the resources at the NDLI, and suppose if he finds the resource from Jadavpur University is useful, so he clicks on that resource, and then we direct him, we show him the metadata, and if he wants full text, we direct him back to Jadavpur University. So he goes back to Jadavpur University, and Jadavpur University does a verification whether it is coming from NDLI. If it's coming from NDLI, it gives access directly to the researcher. So we actually facilitate, we only act as an integrator of various open and free knowledge resources, and we don't store any full text resources. So this is primarily to avoid copyright violation issue. So at this point in time, metadata is non-copyrighted. So we are not having any copyrighted material in our repository. So then, what type of content our partner or we may be having? So we have actually three types of content. One is born digital object, which means, say for example, 5 years back I wrote my thesis. I wrote it using a computer, using Word Office, and then I converted this into a PDF when I submitted my PhD, and then gave it in a DVD to my university, and then they submitted it to Shodhganga as the national repository. So this is the born digital. Say because I have typed it in the digital medium and they converted into a digital medium and then submitted in the digital medium. This is called born digital object. And the second one is say digital surrogate of a physical object. This means, for example, there was a thesis which was written 25 years back when there was no use of computer in writing the thesis or writing the thesis. So that time people might have written the thesis by hand or by typewriter. So now it is available in the physical format. When it is available in the physical format, what you can do is you can scan the resources and then create a digital surrogate. So that is called a digital surrogate of a physical object. So the thesis is there, and then you create a digital surrogate and then you put it on the web. So this is the second type of content we have at NDLI. And the third one is digital metadata of a physical object. So we only have the Metadata. Metadata, as I mentioned, it's only the basic information about the resource, and we don't have the full text for that resource. So these are the three types of content we have at NDLI. And as I mentioned, we don't store any full text resources. In DLI, we only ingest metadata for search and browse, and the content full text is delivered primarily from the source itself. So as I mentioned, we are primarily the content integrators or collaborators, right? We give our platform for various people to come and share their knowledge resources. That's what we facilitate. So far we have closer to 278 such content contributors. So you name any major educational and research institutions and also publishing industry, they're all part of NDLI thing. So I will share you the metadata schema that we are following. So you can actually access it from your project website. So go to our project website and then you will find our metadata schema, right? And also you can do a Google search saying that NDL project plus metadata schema, you will get the entire document. So that's available in the open public domain. And uh, so suppose if your institution also willing to share their open and non-copyrighted resources, they are free to do so. And for that, you may have to send me an email. Where my contact details, I will share it in the towards the end of this presentation. So what type of content we have at NDLI? So this is as per our content is organized as per the DDC classification schema classification. Say for example, computer science, information and general works, we have closer to 99 lakh resources. Philosophy and psychology, 6.1 lakh. 1 lakhs. Religion, 2 lakh resources. Social sciences, 45 lakhs. Language, 1 lakh. Natural sciences and mathematics, 83 lakhs. Technology, 1 crore. The arts, fine and decorative arts, 4.5 lakhs. Literature and rhetoric, 7.8 lakhs. History and geography, 6.1 lakhs. So this is the total content. We have closer to 4.8 crore resources as of today. So this is the total kind of resources. So this list shows the top 20 content contributors of NDLI. So World eBook Library, they have contributed with 77 lakh resources, followed by CiteSeerX. They have contributed 52 lakh resources. Okay, so PubMed Central, 38 lakh resources, and rest of the major contributors, you can just have a look at it. So with World eBook Library, we have the government of India has procured national license, right? So I will talk about the national license in a short while. IEEE, we only have the metadata. Similarly, Springer Link, we only have the metadata. We don't have the full text. Then what type of content we have at DLI? We have a range of content. So starting from a thesis to a dissertation, to a lecture series, or a video lecture, audio lecture, class notes, term papers, assignments, question banks, data sets, manuscripts, ebooks, articles. So you name any form of major knowledge or educational resources, it's available in NDLI. And content wise, so if you look at so article is the highest content type with 2.97 crore resources. Books, 64 lakh resources. Reports, 12 lakh. Notes, 11 lakhs. Law acts, 8.7 lakhs. Law judgments, 8.7 lakhs. Technical reports, 7.1 lakhs. Thesis, 6.4 lakhs. Historical record, 5.3 lakhs. Video lectures, 3.62 lakhs. So this is the kind of content. And access option. So when you search, so the below each search result, you will see three icons. So the first icon denotes the access options, and the second icon denotes the language of the resource, and the third icon denotes the type of content. So these are the three icons that will appear below each search result. So the first icon, access option. So there are 5 access options available in this NDLI resources. One is open, which means they are openly available for everyone. they, which means that you can download the full text resources. The entire book or article you can download and use it. Second one is a man with NDLI written on it. That is also full text. So this means these are resources like we have specifically partnered with from specific institutions, or it could be from the national licensing scheme also. And the third access option is limited access, which means only part of the text is available. And the fourth one is subscribed. Say for example, IEEE. Suppose if your institution has subscribed to IEEE, when you search in NDLI, it will check. So suppose if you're using it from your computer center or from your college or university, and you're subscribed to Springer or IEEE, it will take you to it will check for the IP whether it is coming from the prescribed IP. If it's there, then it will give you the access. So this is the subscribed version. And the fifth one is restricted. So this is only meant for internal consumption, not for external use. So access right wise content. So open resources are 2.74 crore resources. NDLI resources are 77 lakh resources. So these two combined, so which means the full text resources are 3.61 crore resources. So as I mentioned, we have closer to 4.8 crore resources, out of which 3.61 crore resources are full text resources. That is 75% of the content are full text resources. Subscribed resources are 95 lakh, limited resources are 28 lakhs, authorized resources are only 4 lakh resources. So who is this content for? So we have content for all age groups. So starting from school going students to college going youths, professionals who are into work, academicians or researchers, entrepreneurs and lifelong learners. So we have content for all age group. Now let's look at how to access NDLI. So accessing NDLI is very easy. You have to go to a browser, you have to Google or a Mozilla Firefox or a Safari or any mobile browser for that matter. Go to any browser and search for National Digital Library of India. And the first URL you get, which is ndl.iitkgp.ac.in. So this is the first URL, and our another URL is ndl.gov.in. So these are the two URLs that we have. Both the URLs work. So suppose if you want to open the first URL, so just click on the first URL and the home page will open. So this is the home page of NDLI. So this pop-up window will appear by default. So our team has actually created this during this pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic. So you can for searching, you just have to close it. I will talk about this pop-up window soon. So now to search, we have a search box. So at the top, you will see a search box. So the search box, what I typed is, first I typed history of English literature. Okay, and then clicked on search icon, and I applied filters. So there are some 11 or 12 filters available on the NDLI website. So here I applied for a filter called subject category. So I wanted resources under the subject category of language and literature. So I got 6.74 lakh resources on the topic of history of English literature. But here you need to remember the search keyword. So you need to choose the search keyword carefully and without any spelling mistake. You should not make any spelling mistake. Suppose if you make any spelling mistake in, say, literature, if you make it LETRA, then you may not have the desired results. So you have to be very careful in typing the keyword as well as with correct spelling. And the next topic I searched was on modern India. So here I wanted, I applied two filters. I went to access restriction and then applied open and NDLI, which means I can take only the full text resources, and subject category history and geography. I got 20,000 results on the topic of modern India. And the next topic I searched was on Indian constitutional law. And then I searched for a novel called 1984, which is one of the top 10 novels in the world, written by George Orwell. So here you can see two 1984. So one, you can check, as I mentioned, this second icon denotes the language. Here it's HUN, which means Hungarian, and this one is English. So if you want English, you just click on this thing, then you can download. And the next topic I searched was sociology. So here I wanted only video lectures on the topic of sociology. So on the right hand side, we have another filter called video, a content type. So I clicked video and I got 455 video lectures on the topic of sociology. And the next topic I searched was on microeconomics. Here I wanted results only from two institutions. So for that, what I need to do is source. As I mentioned, we have closer to 278 content collaborators, and one of the collaborators is MIT OpenCourseware, and the another one is Asim Premji Foundation. So I chose resources only from these two institutions. So I got 251 results on the topic of microeconomics. Next topic was human physiology. Here again I wanted only video. Next topic I searched was engineering mechanics. Here I applied a filter called author. I wanted resources only from Sudarshan Iyengar. So I went to author and then I chose Sudarshan Iyengar. I got 862 videos on the topic of engineering mechanics. Next one, artificial intelligence. Here I applied three filters. Access restriction filter, subject category where I chose computer and computer science and in technology. Two filters I applied, and then I wanted resources only from MIT OpenCourseware. So I got 64 results on the topic of artificial intelligence. And the next topic I searched was on pedagogy of science. Here I wanted resources only from TeacherTube. So TeacherTube is a channel which produces videos for the teachers. And the next topic was on rural marketing. So I chose technology subject category, technology, access restriction, full text. So this one I was talking to you earlier. So during this time of pandemic, actually our team has classified the resources into various educational level as well as educational degree. So here you can see the content has been classified into school, UG engineering, UG science, UG other disciplines, language, management and law. So suppose if you want content from school, so just go here and click school, you will get content which are meant for school going children. And the next one is engineering, science. So similarly, you can check other resources. And also, our team has actually created a repository of COVID-19 research resources. And in order to access it, you just have to go and click on this COVID-19 research resources. You will be able to see all the COVID-19 resources here. And our team is actually populating this with more resources. So you can keep checking the resources as we go along. So how do we see it in the normal thing? So on the top, you will see this icon called Corona Outbreak Study from Home. So you have to just click on this red color icon, then this pop-up window will appear. Now let us look at how to access or open the text. So here I searched for a topic called research methodology, and I wanted resources only from Lovely Professional University. Suppose if I want to, and there are 1400 results. Suppose if I want to open this first resource, so just I have to click on that resource, then this page will open. So this page has two tabs. On the top you can see two tabs. One is content tab, another one is metadata tab. So just first click on the metadata tab and you can see the basic metadata about this resource. So the title is Research Methodology, source is Lovely Professional University, content type is text, publisher is Excel Books Private Limited, file format is PDF, language is English, and other metadata fields are there. And then I have to check whether this content is open or NDLI. If it's open and NDLI, then only I will be able to download that resource. So since it's open, I can download this resource. Okay. So now if I click content, since I have already logged in, on the right hand side you can see I have logged in as Vignesh Swarnamohan. Since I have logged in, if I click on content, the entire book will get downloaded into your computer or PC or mobile, and then you can use it for educational purposes. Imagine you have not logged in. So here you can see on the right hand side there is nobody logged in. So suppose if you want to open this resource, you click on content, then this will take you to this page. please log in to view this content. Okay, so you just have to click on this login, and then this pop-up window will appear. So here, suppose if you are already registered at NDLI, what you can do is go on here and enter your email ID and the password which you created for NDLI, and then enter the captcha and then click on login. Now you will be able to download the resource. Imagine, suppose you've registered long back, you registered at NDLI few years back, but you forgot the password. Now in order to recover your account, what you can do is there is an icon called account recovery. So just go here and click on this account recovery. Then this pop-up window will appear. It will ask you for the registered email ID. Just enter it and submit. Then you will get a password reset URL. There you click and reset your password and log in with your new password and email ID. Suppose if you have never registered at NDLI, so then in that case, what you need to do is click on this register button. Then the registration form will open. So the registration form captures the basic information about you: full name, email ID, preferably the personal email ID, password, confirm password, date of birth. So these four fields are mandatory. Rest of the fields are optional. So you fill the form and then submit it. Click on sign up. Then you will get the verification email. Just go there and verify your email, and then your account will be activated. So this entire process will not take more than 5 minutes. So you can actually do this registration in 5 minutes and start using NDLI. Suppose if it's a video lecture, this is how the video lecture will look like. So as I mentioned, for accessing NDLI, you need to be sure of two things. You should be aware of two important things. One is you should know your search keyword properly with correct spelling. And the second one is you need to know various filter options through which you can narrow down your results. So I'm going to talk about some of the important filters that we have. The first important filter I'm going to talk about is access restriction. Suppose if you want only the full text resources, then click on this access restriction filter and then choose open and NDLI. Okay, then this will fetch you only the full text resources. And the second filter is author. Suppose you search for a topic and you see you want this author Jing Wang. So just click on this Jing Wang, you will get the full text resources from this author, all the resources from this author. And the third filter is subject category. Okay, so depending on the search keyword, you can choose the subject category. So you can choose multiple subject category also. Suppose if there is a search topic on agriculture technology, so it may come under two filters, two categories also. So you can actually choose the categories. And the fourth important filter is file format. Suppose if you want only audio files, so go here and click MP3. Suppose if you want only PDF files, click on MPDF. And the fifth filter is language. So NDLI is available in more than 300 resources. NDLI contents are available in both Indian as well as international language, 300 languages. So Indian languages content also there. So you can go here and search for language of your choice and then narrow down the results. And the sixth filter is learning resource type. Suppose if you want, say, audiobook, just go here and click on the audiobook. Right? Suppose if you want newspaper clippings, just click here newspaper. And the seventh filter is source. So source is I told you about 278 content partnerships. So you can actually choose the appropriate content partner and then narrow down your results. And the eighth filter is about the content type. Okay, so these filter options are available on the desktop application and also on the mobile application. So this is how the desktop filter options available. I will show you about how the mobile filter options in a short while. And also you can actually uh, use the NDLI interface in various Indian languages also. So this entire interface can be translated into your own mother tongue. Say for example, it's available in Bangla, Hindi, Gujarati, Kannada, Marathi, Odia, and Tamil. And also we have it in various in both mobile apps in both Android as well as in iOS. So you have to go to Play Store. In order to download the mobile app, what you need to do is go to Play Store or iStore and then search for National Digital Library of India. Then this icon, National Digital Library of India logo, along with you have to check whether it is the source is from National Digital Library of India. Then you can click on install. So you can easily install the NDLI mobile app. Once you install, you can open the app. So I'm going to show you how to use the NDLI Android app. So this is how the NDLI Android app looks like. So subject domain, this is the home page. Subject domain, learning resource type, featured resources. This shows the home page. So suppose if you want to search in the NDLI mobile app, what you can do is on the top you have a search icon. So this red colored icon. So this once you click, this search box will appear. So this is the search box. Here I entered Uttar Pradesh. The search topic was Uttar Pradesh, and then in the keypad you enter search. Once you click on search, it will show you the number of results are found on the topic. It found 41,000 results. Okay. In the desktop application, we had the filters on the left hand side and then right hand side. But in the mobile app, this filter option is available on the right bottom corner. So this orange color icon, this is the one which is filter option in the mobile app. So suppose if you want to apply filters, just click on this orange color icon. Then in the third screen, you can see all the filters which we saw on the desktop application will be appearing on the top. So you can see all the filters by scrolling this uh, uh, button. So here I applied for the filter of called source. Okay, and then I clicked on Aligarh Muslim University and then applied. So I got 199 results on the topic of Uttar Pradesh. Okay, so now let's look at what is the difference between Google and NDLI and what is the major difference. So let's see it with an example. Imagine there is a girl called Payal who's studying in class A, and she's medium of learning is Hindi, and she's interested in knowing about magnetism. And Shamik, he is planning to pursue his PhD, and his interest of study is also magnetism. So what both of them did was they went to Google and they searched for a topic called magnetism, and they got 1.894 results. Both of them same results, and they both came to NDLI and they searched for the same term called magnetism, and they got 11 lakh resources. Now, what Pahel did was she applied two filters. Educational level, she chose 5th to 8th standard, and language Hindi, and then she got 8 results. So imagine where is 11 lakh and where is 8 and where is 1.894. And what Shami did was he wanted only career and technical papers, so he chose career and technical paper and he got 219 results. Now see what is the difference between Google and NDLI. So Google is a brilliant tool. We don't have any competition with Google, and they do their job very brilliantly with complete professional approach. But it has its own limitations. So what are those limitations? First, when you put the topic called magnetism, what it does is it goes around the entire World Wide Web, and wherever this term called magnetism is there, it will pull the results. Okay, but Google can't distinguish whether this source is coming from an authentic source or an unauthentic source, whether this source is a educational resource or a non-educational resource, whether this content is coming from a is a real or fake information. So you can't distinguish between the resources, whereas at NDLI, all the resources are coming from our partners, trusted partners. They are primarily into educational research and publishing industry, and they are all curated educational content only. So that's the first major difference. And the second difference is you can actually narrow down the results using various educational filters. uh, Google also has advanced search options, but it may not be suitable for educational purposes. So here it's primarily meant for educational purposes. And the third important difference is you can modify searches based on the content type. That is possible. And the fourth important filter is national licensing. So as I was mentioning to you earlier, Government of India has procured national license on behalf of the Indian citizens from two publishers. One is World eBook Library, another one is South Asia Archives. So with these two, the Government of India has purchased the national license on behalf of Indian citizens, so that every Indian citizen can access these resources without having to pay a single penny. So this is some uniqueness and research reach about NDLI. We have closer to 23,000 institutions who access our resources, with 55 lakh users, with active 23 lakh active users, more than 11 lakh mobile app downloads, and our average hit was 30,000. But during this pandemic, it crossed around say 5 lakh every day. So the big picture is, so already we have this credit transfer and virtual certification mechanism, under which you can augment about 20 credits from various MOOCs platform and add it in your post credit. That is possible. But in future, if you have maybe 5 or 10 years down the line, if you have access to a digital device with good internet connectivity, you can actually pursue your certificate, diploma, or other courses by sitting at your home itself. So that may or may not be possible. So the government sees it as a future emerging thing. Now let's look at how to operate NDLI club. So basically, the objective of NDLA Club is to promote the culture of reading. You all know, like there is uh, the students as well as in general public, the reading habit has been declining to a significant level. To bring back this culture of reading and also promote the knowledge resources available at NDLA, the Government of India has been encouraging various educational institutions to start NDLA club in their institutions. So how to do it? First, identify at least one student from each class and one faculty member from each department, with librarian or a faculty member as the ex officio secretary and principal as the ex officio chairman of the club. First, form this club members, get it approved by the competent authority, and then you have to apply for the NDLA club registration. Okay, so there is a Google form that is available. So this is how the Google form looks like. So this is a temporary arrangement that we have taken, but in future we will have a full-fledged mechanism. So you have to enter the basic information and attach the list of NDLA club members and the tentative date of starting the NDLA club, and then you submit it. Once you submit, it will come to the form will come to us, and we will do a backend verification with various databases that we have. And once it is verified, we will issue a certificate of registration to the institution. So this certificate of registration is valid for 1 year, which within that 1 year you need to do two activities. One is you have to register all the students and faculty members of your institution within 30 days for NDL. And the second step you need to do is at least conduct 10 reading or knowledge related activities within the 12 months period. So now let's see how to do these two activities. So in order to register, you have two options. NDLI. If yes, then you need, they will ask you to show the certificate and the list of people who registered and the list of people who activated their account. So if you show them, then they will issue a certificate of additional 2 or 3 marks to your institution. So now let's look at how to do bulk registration. So first step you need to do is, first you conduct an awareness session for your NDLA club members, and the NDLA club members in turn go back and train their fellow students and faculty members. So once the first awareness session is conducted, then you collect the 3 important information about each user. So be it a student or a faculty, first important information is the personal email ID of the student or faculty, their first name and last name. So these 3 details have to be captured in an Excel sheet. Okay, so capture it in an Excel sheet, and then you have to send it to this email ID, which is ndl-support@iitkgp.ac.in, with a copy to my email ID so that I can follow up. My email ID is vignesh@ndl.gov.in and vigneshjnu@gmail.com. Okay, so once you send it to us, we will do a bulk registration of your users. Once we do it, the users will get an automated email. So you have to ask them to click on that URL, and then it will ask, we will also give them a temporary password. Just enter the temporary password, and then it will ask you to reset your password. Just reset and you are all set to go. Okay, so this is how the bulk registration process of works. Suppose some students may not get the automated email, so in that case you can ask them to just go to the account recovery email, enter the email ID which they gave, and then they activate. They will get the verification email again, and then they can activate their account. Suppose, imagine if your students, if your family members, your children or your friends or relative who want to register but who they are not into any higher education institution, they can actually go to NDLA and register as individual users. So for that, what they need to do is go to our NDLA homepage, and there is an right bottom corner you have this register icon. So you have to just click on this register icon, then the NDLA registration form will open. So enter 4 details, important mandatory field. One is full name, email ID, password, and confirm password. These are the 4 details which are mandatory. Rest of the details are optional, so you may or may not fill. And then click on the terms and condition, and then click on sign up. So once you sign up, you will get the verification email, and then you can activate their account. So this is the registration part. Now activities part. So you can conduct any form of reading or knowledge activities which promote the culture of reading. So some of the activities that we have been like requesting the institutions to do, this is just an indicative list. This is not exhaustive list. The students and faculty members are innovating their own ways of conducting activities. Some of the activities that we have suggested are lecture series, quiz competition, storytelling session, go fish session, film screening, drawing competition, role play, writing competition, make a space, debate. So these are some of the activities. So once you complete the activity, you have to upload this report. Okay, and then we will so at the end of 1 year we will do a review of your all the activities, and based on the review we will extend or renew your certificate of registration. And these are some of the activities being conducted by various NDLA clubs, and so far we have closer to 152 NDLA clubs across the country. And also we have devised a incentive mechanism for NDLA club, which are best performing at the district, state or national level. And we are also planning to, the MHRD is planning to give them financial incentives also. And we've also started conducting reading Olympiad. So we conducted a first district reading Olympiad in Tamil Nadu, Coimbatore district, and which was a very good beginning. Now we are planning to scale it up to other districts and states, and national level also we will plan a national level Olympiad. So this is what I wanted to share it with all of you. So this is my contact details. So my name is Dr. Vignesh, and my email ID is vignesh@ndl.gov.in, and my personal email ID is vigneshjnu@gmail.com, and my mobile number is 9999654458. So if you want any information related to NDLI or NDLI clubs, you can write to me. And for bulk registration related queries, you can contact my colleague Rajendra Sen. His email ID is rajendra.singh1310@gmail.com, and he can be reached on his mobile phone 8197564857. And our general email ID is ndl-support@iitkgp.ac.in. So with this, I would like to thank each one of you for your kind patience and listening. And I'm happy to address a few questions if you have. So I request if you have any questions, kindly put it in the chat message so that I can read them here. Because everybody opens their mic, it will be a huge disturbance. So I've completed my presentation. If you have any questions, you can ask. Okay, so Mr. Arab has a question. How can we get your today's PPT? So we will, if I get the list of participants, I can send it to all of you. That is very much possible. Alternatively, what you can do is you can go to NDLI project website, go to Google and type NDLI project website, and then user awareness sessions. We upload all our PPTs in our project website. If all of you, I request Mr. Rajarshi to share the email ID and password of all the participants. I can send it. So is India like club is for institute like school also? Yes, you can start it at the school level itself. That's very much required. Thank you for the kind feedback, King LISCU 24.
Thank you for the nice session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ji. Yes, Dr. Bishwajit Das, you have a question?
Hello.
Yes, doctor.
I am audible?
Yes, you are.
So my first question is, India has any initiative to public library?
Yes, very much. So I will give you an example. So I was conducting an awareness program for a workshop for a group of public librarians in Goa as well as in West Bengal few years back. So I had an experience like one librarian at the taluk level or mandal level. One student, research scholar, came to our library and looking for some specific information about that taluk or mandal. So that librarian said we don't have any resource that time. Then when during the process, the webinar, a workshop, so I told her to do a search about the topic which is of interest to her. So she searched on the topic which the researcher wanted to access the resource. To her surprise, she got 100 such topics or research thesis available on that topic. So that is possible. So you can actually, in order to understand the kind of content we have, you can actually go and search. So even I might have searched for some 2000 topics so far. So far I have not been disappointed without any resource. So we have resources for everyone on every topic, but you need to explore. So once you explore, you will be able to come across.
Any initiative in West Bengal for
Sorry,
public
sir?
library? Any initiative in West Bengal for public library?
Yes, sir. So I worked a lot in West Bengal. So I have worked with Madhusudan Da in South 24 Bargana libraries. I worked with your public libraries department. I think Mr. Mrityunjay Da is there. So we have worked a lot in West Bengal public libraries.
Then most of the initiative NDL programming organized most of the college or university or institution with collaboration in India. So
Okay, so
any collaboration with public library in West Bengal initiative in
so
program?
see, actually this is the open free source. So we don't have to have a specific MOU or agreement. So anyone who is interested in accessing resources, be it an public library, be it an academic library, be it an research library, they can start to do so. So we don't have any specific MOU or agreement, but to my understanding, lot of public libraries, lot of research libraries, and lot of educational institutions are accessing. If you ask me who is accessing more, I would say the educational institutional libraries are accessing a lot, followed by research libraries and then public libraries. That's the situation as of now. It may change. So there is another. Thank you, Dr. Bishwajit Das. So there was a question from how a private universities IDR collaborated with NDLI. So Mr. Sandeep Das. So what you do is we normally do is, suppose if your institution or university is interested in sharing the resource, we that resource first it has to be a non-copyrighted open resource, and you should have access like provision to share that resource, consent from your faculty or students to share that resource. If it's in place, then you can send an email to us